up on News2. Have the official primary election results been released? An update on the count from VI election officials. Also, lack of road repairs are causing headaches for many drivers. One resident sounds off about the Williams Light Road. We'll have an update. Plus, how are the VI athletes doing at the 2014 Summer Youth Olympic Games in China? Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News2. I'm Sandra Nanjing. Topping our newscast tonight, the deadline for the certification of the primaries has passed. How are the election boards faring with counting all the remaining ballots and certifying the results? News2's April Knight was at the election system on St. Thomas Monday to find out.
Sandy, one day after the deadline to certify the primaries, the St. Thomas St. John Election Board makes one last push to finally certify the district's primary elections, but their efforts were in vain. With many of the board members off island, including Chairman Arturo Watlington, the board was struggling to even make quorum. A board meeting was announced Tuesday morning, scheduled at 2 a.m. to accommodate board member Wilma Marshman-Santo, who never showed up. Without a quorum, the St. Thomas board could only discuss but could take no action on the results. They break down the lack of quorum for Sunday and Monday.
Mr. Daniel was off island, Miss Wells, Attorney Watlington, and also Ms. Hendricks. That's 4 persons out of 7 who are off island.
We're ready now. It's just a matter of a quorum, which we don't have, and there's nothing we can do otherwise beyond this.
The board also could not certify without getting a clear directive on how the write-ins should be counted. The machine only counts marked write-ins, meaning those that have the bubble filled and the names written out. The question was whether the board should count only the marked write-ins or all of them. The board finally decided to record only the marked write-ins. The St. Croix board had already certified its results on Sunday, beating the deadline, and submitted them to the election supervisor. St. Croix board members are also set on casting lots for the general elections as scheduled on Tuesday, August 19th.
We probably don't want to do what they want to do, but the life's clear. We already have the lot to file. We set the date of the 19th, and that's all we do in St. Croix. We follow the law. We certify the election according to law, then we cast the lot whether St. Thomas is ready or not.
The St. Thomas board hopes to certify when majority of the members are back on island on the 25th and possibly hold its casting of lots for St. Thomas and territory-wide positions on August 26th. Sandy, back to you.
Now, News2 is reaching out to the election boards on both districts for the latest unofficial tallies. Be sure to count on 2 to keep you updated. The Obama administration has filed a brief last week that says citizenship is not a fundamental right, but a privilege for residents of the United States territories, including the U.S. Virgin Islands. The brief cites the U.S. Constitution as stating that privileges such as citizenship can only be conferred by the U.S. Congress. The Obama administration filed the brief as a response to a case involving American Samoa, Tuaua versus United States, which currently pending before a Washington, D.C. Circuit Court. The lead counsel on the lawsuit, Neil Ware, was in the Virgin Islands in September 2013 for a forum on the subject. While people born in the U.S. Virgin Islands are considered citizens, they cannot vote for president nor vice presidents. The fate of the Tuaua case could have repercussions on the Virgin Islands. Your input is needed as the VI government starts the process of drafting the next 5-year comprehensive economic development strategy plan for the territory. As we reported, Government House awarded a $117,000 competitively bid contract to the VI Bureau of Economic Research to draft the plan. Public meetings are scheduled to take place, and they want to hear from residents about what they feel should be included in the plan. The meetings began today on St. Thomas. It started at 6 and continues until 8 p.m. at UVI Room 110 on St. Croix. It's Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at UVI's Melvin Evans Center, and then St. John, it's Wednesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Julius Sprouse School and Water Island, Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Pavilion. Governor John P. DeYoung Jr. sat down with Puerto Rico's Governor Alejandro Garcia Padilla to discuss issues of mutual concern, including energy and law enforcement initiatives. Both governors were in attendance at the Southern Governors Association meeting in Little Rock, Arkansas. Also at the meeting, Governor DeYoung discussed territorial issues with former U.S. President Bill Clinton. Clinton vacationed in the Virgin Islands on more than one occasion while serving as President of the United States. Clinton was the keynote speaker at the annual SGA conference. Senator Terrence Positive Nelson, in collaboration with the University of the Virgin Islands, as we reported, is hosting a medical cannabis forum, a discussion with healthcare professionals, the real benefits of cannabis. The forum began at 5:30 and continues until 9 this evening in the Great Hall Conference Room of the University of the Virgin Islands on St. Croix. A documentary, along with a panel of healthcare professionals, including Dr. Cora Christian, Dr. Richard Golden, Dr. Manuel Mota, Dr. Carmen Cintron, Dr. Keisha Christian, and Dr. Maggie Brown. The doctors and medical professionals are discussing their position regarding the use of cannabis, marijuana, as a medicine. One St. Croix resident is calling on Public Works to redo some of the roads in Williams Delight. She says it's too soon for the brand new roads to be buckling and deteriorating as they are. News2's Erica Parsons has the story.
Phyllis Blackman spent Monday marking trouble spots on the streets of Williams Delight.
Here's where they pave already, the patch.
Just 1 year after the first phase of the Williams Delight major road project was completed, residents aren't satisfied.
It wasn't a good job at all because what he did, he put all the clay back over and then put 1 inch of asphalt. I show it to you, and it cannot hold with clay underneath and asphalt with 1 inch on top of it.
GEC Construction was contracted by the Department of Public Works to overhaul the roads and put in proper drainage for the crumbling streets.
Since that, they've been coming back and fixing, patching what the roads fall in.
Blackman said she's been in talks with Public Works, though they hadn't come out before today.
While I was driving, showing him, he said that is his project and he's going to get on it. Then Commissioner Commissioner Small call him in the presence of me and tell me in 1 week they will get on it and do it the right way.
2 phases of the 4-stage project have been completed. The second phase was done by VI Paving and it began right after the other one ended. Blackman said she hasn't had any problems to date with that work. She also expects WAPA to properly patch a road they dug up to fix a busted water pipe. For the rest of the roads in Williams Delight, she's giving Public Works 1 week to do just what they promised.
GEC is the one that gets the most money to fix these roads in Williams Delight. They need to come back and redo them over, especially all these that you see I'm marking, to repave them over, patch them or whatever they want to do the right way.
Erica Parsons, News 2.
Now, Public Works Commissioner Darrell Smalls is out of the territory, but Public Works officials have agreed to address the situation. Calls to GEC manager John Wessel were not returned by News Time. Turn our attention overseas. Missouri's governor has called in the National Guard to help restore order in the city of Ferguson following nightly clashes between police and protesters for more than a week. Residents are demanding answers over the fatal police shooting of an unarmed teenager. According to a private autopsy, the teen was shot at least 6 times. Omar Villafanca reports from Ferguson.
A team of medical examiners hired by the family of Michael Brown discussed the private autopsy they conducted on the 18-year-old's body. They found the teen was shot at least 6 times.
All of these gunshot wounds were survivable, except for the one in the top of the head that went through the brain.
The forensic experts say a wound on Brown's arm is consistent with witness accounts that the unarmed teen was surrendering when a police officer shot him, but the evidence isn't conclusive.
So it also could have occurred when he was putting his hands up. It could have happened if he put his arms across in a defensive manner. We don't know.
Attorney General Eric Holder plans to head to Ferguson later this week after briefing President Obama on the federal investigation into Brown's death.
To a community in Ferguson that is rightly hurting and looking for answers, let me call once again for us to seek some understanding rather than simply holler at each other.
The governor of Missouri announced there will be no curfew tonight here in Ferguson. But during the day, officers are enforcing an order against static assembly. They're urging people to keep moving and not stay in one place. The curfew comes as members of the National Guard arrive to keep the peace following a week of violent protests. The Guard will focus on protecting the Unified Command Center, which police say has come under attack. Omar Villafranca, CBS News, Ferguson, Missouri.
Tune into CBS Evening News at 7:30 for the latest. Keeping our eye on the economy, the government wants automakers to develop cars that talk to each other. Many cars already have sensors that detect other vehicles up close. Radio waves allow cars to communicate with one another and avoid potential accidents. The National Highway government officials say they will soon start drafting rules requiring automakers to use V2V to help save lives. Here's a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. Everything up. The Dow 175, NASDAQ 43, S&P 16. Coming up on News 2, your back-to-school checklist to get students prepared. Plus, how are our 5 athletes doing at the 2014 Summer Youth Olympic Games in China? That's coming up later in sports. It's time for some summer fun. Did you know that if you wear bright colors and perfumed lotion, you may attract some butterflies? You can visit the Butterfly Garden on St. Thomas in Havenside, the only butterfly exhibit in St. Thomas where you can experience an unforgettable encounter with the beauty and wonder of nature. Enter a lush tropical garden home to butterflies from around the world. Take a stroll through the outside botanical gardens, showcasing a wide variety of local plants and butterfly species. During your 25-minute tour, the knowledgeable guides will entertain you with fascinating facts about the extraordinary life cycle of these beautiful creatures as they change from eggs to caterpillars into spectacular butterflies through the miracle of metamorphosis. Visit the Butterfly Garden in the morning if you want to see the most activity. This is when newly emerged butterflies take their first flight. Well, while we're having some summer fun, keep back to school in mind. And here's the back to school checklist for students who will be attending Ulla F. Muller School on Tuesday, September 2nd at 8 a.m. in the school's cafeteria. Kindergarten orientation takes place. Parents for new students of 1st to 6th graders as well must bring registration letter from the Office of the Registrar, immunization cards, insurance cards, or funds to purchase school insurance if preferred. And then Thursday, September 4th, 8 a.m., primary orientation for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grades. Then Friday, September 5th at 8 a.m., it's intermediate registration for 4th, 5th, and 6th grades. The 2014-2015 school calendar was signed by Governor John P. Young July 22nd and officially released by the Department of Education. Opening and closing dates for school are September 2nd and June 19th, 2015, respectively. The owners of Hovensa have been granted an extension to find a buyer for the refinery. Hovensa officials requested more time to continue discussions with potential buyers under the Fourth Amendment agreement made between Hovensa and the Virgin Islands government. Hovensa had until August 15th to finalize a deal. In a brief statement issued Friday, the governor agreed to extend the sales process until August 30th. Hovensa stopped refining operations in 2012 and operates as an oil storage terminal. Well, meanwhile, let's take a look at those gas prices. A slight rise in the rack rates for regular, premium, and diesel. Regular fuel rose by a penny from $3.52 to $3.53. Premium fuel rose also by a penny from $3.72 to $3.73. Diesel fuel also rose by 1 cent from $3.44 to $3.45. Now, these prices include the 14 cents tax that Hovensa collects for the government. In other news, the family of the late Ambassador Terrence Todman has announced that the first viewing will be held on Thursday, August 21st, where the body will lie in state from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Government House St. Thomas. The service will be held on Saturday, August 23rd, with tributes starting at 10:30 a.m. at the All Saints Cathedral on Garden Street, St. Thomas. The service will begin at 11:30 a.m. Now, in lieu of flowers, the family requests that charitable contributions be made to UVI Professorship in International Diplomacy, the NAACP Legal Fund, the United Negro College Fund, and the Ambassador Terrence Todman Foundation. Todman served as a U.S. ambassador to Chad, Guinea, Costa Rica, Spain, Denmark, and Argentina over 4 decades. Flags continue to fly half-staff until sunset on Saturday. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.